The Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum has just opened a new exhibit marking the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's assassination. We spoke to the exhibit's curator, Dr. James Cornelius.
Yes, we chose this exhibit because people are fascinated by Lincoln's death, partly because it happened just 6 days after the sort of technical end to the Civil War. The nation rose in elation and then crashed in sorrow. And we chose that title because they were using the harshest words they knew to describe what that coward had done in shooting the president. So we've got all kinds of things that we've never put on display before here to bring people in to see this.
Included among the exhibits is a piece of Lincoln's coat he wore that night, along with a note that attests to its authenticity. There's also a small piece of cloth that still bears blood stains from the wounded president. And from the funeral cart that bore the president's body, there's a small casket handle. But there are many more artifacts.
One thing that's rather beautiful is a swan feather sent by Queen Victoria from London for Lincoln's tomb here in Springfield. There's also a beautiful artwork, a medallion that the U.S. government put out a few years later showing a crime. It's the only time the government has put out an artwork depicting a crime. It's the guy who was trying to kill Secretary of State William Seward with a knife in his bed, and the wounded Army soldier who prevented that guy from killing Seward got a medallion issued in his honor. So that's on display. And then some very personal things, painful things from the Lincoln family. Mary's blood-stained fan from the box at Ford's Theater is on display. And the handwritten telegrams that Robert Lincoln, their son, wrote to family and friends urging them to hurry to Washington to help with this catastrophe.
Okay, have these pieces been seen before? Are they being seen elsewhere, or?
No, this show is not traveling anywhere. Most of these pieces have not been on display here before. Mary's bloodstained fan has been. But for example, the beautiful red silk sash, it's almost 7 feet long, that the Lincoln's friend Senator Browning of Illinois wore at the Washington, D.C. funeral for Lincoln in the White House is on display for the first time. And so too, a couple of fascinating things that involve what happened to people involved in the assassination itself. John Ford, the owner of Ford's Theater, was arrested, as were both of his brothers, as were several people who they thought might be part of the conspiracy. And there's a letter written to Ford while he was in prison in Washington, D.C. This was a horrible, painful moment. A lot of innocent people were accused. Some of the guilty people sort of got off for a little while. One of them got off altogether. But this show is about the country's shock at Lincoln's death. And for those who aren't attracted by that sadness, we do have our other big show here going on too, called Undying Words, about Lincoln's great speeches and his political career in both Illinois, his fight against slavery, and his presidency.
Okay, now it seems like this moment in history, Abraham Lincoln as a president, it really is fascinating for many people. I heard a family traveled here from Chicago to see this exhibit. Is that common for the museum?
Yes, we get visitors from Chicago, from St. Louis, from all 50 states, from more than 100 countries of the world who have come here. And we expect this spring to be a particularly busy time because it's the 150th anniversary of the salvation of the nation, thanks to Lincoln, General Grant, over 2 million soldiers who volunteered to fight for the Union, and then this crushing sorrow for the family. It's tremendously important to our history. Lincoln's goal of ending slavery and saving the Union was fulfilled, and every nation in the country every nation in the world admires him for that now.
If you want to check out this exhibit, it runs until mid-July at the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum. I'm Shirley Descorbeth.